This is the Amateur Logician from amateurlogician.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good day. Now in this video we're going to preview the logic of signs. We're going to consider subtle distinctions like natural versus conventional signs, instrumental signs versus formal signs, which leads to the difference between sense images and intellectual images. And we're going to consider several examples along the way, which will hopefully illuminate these distinctions. Logic is a way to discipline our thinking. Moreover, traditional logic can help us categorize and make subtle distinctions. It helps us orderly and rigorously think and reason. It helps us to evaluate arguments and theorems on our own. It makes us independent thinkers as rational, free human beings. Indeed, logic was a traditional part of education once upon a time. It was a requirement. Today, alas, that is no longer the case, and in fact, that might explain a lot about our very, very poor education system, maybe even our very poor political system as well. But regardless, in this video we are going to think about semiotics, which is the science or study of signs, which has a long history tracing back to the great Saint Bonaventure in the Middle Ages. Language, for example, is definitely a system of signs. You, the interpretant, use a word like dog as a sign to signify an object, namely a dog. We have the famous semiotic triangle. There's a sign, the object signified by the sign, and an interpretant. There's the thing, the idea, and the word. In fact, there's a hierarchical structure here. An idea, which represents something, presupposes that it is about something, even if that something is just an abstract, ideal object in the mind. And a word, which represents an idea, presupposes some idea. In other words, an idea represents an object, and a word represents the idea. So let's start out with a fairly straightforward distinction, and that is between natural signs versus conventional signs. Now, language is conventional because it develops out of human societies. Nothing forces us to call a dog a dog. Obviously, different human languages will often use different signs to signify a dog. But natural signs don't depend upon man. The classic example is smoke. Smoke is often a natural sign of fire. So the sign is smoke, the signified is fire. And this is a natural sign. And as a natural sign, it's an objective feature of reality. It's something to discover out there in the world. We discovered a relation between fire and smoke. Likewise, think about dark clouds. That's a sign, and it signifies possible rain. And like before, that is a natural sign. It's something we discover about reality around us. It's not humans or society agreeing to dark clouds making rain possible. It's just a fact, an objective aspect of reality that dark clouds signify possible rain. Likewise with a growl from a dog, that signifies anger by dog. And as such, it's natural. On the other hand, the waving of a hand, which signifies hello, or possibly goodbye, is a conventional sign and is mutually agreed to voluntarily in society, spontaneously in society. A yardstick measures length, so measure of length, and this is also conventional. We agree that this stick will be a unit of measure. Or consider 1 plus 1. As such, symbolically represented, that means 1 plus 1. It's a conventional sign, although it points to an objective fact about reality that 1 plus 1 is 2. Nevertheless, using this as 1 in the base 10 system, using this symbol to mean addition, that is a symbolic language that is conventional. Now, signs can generally be divided into instrumental signs versus formal signs. So we have instrumental signs and formal signs. Instrumental signs lead to knowledge of the signified immediately, versus formal signs, which lead to knowledge of the signified immediately. or that is to say right away. Now, an instrumental sign not only signifies something, but exists totally autonomously. That's very important to note. Totally autonomously. Language, in that sense, is an instrumental sign. Everybody might forget the Latin language, yet the written signs in Latin will remain in various books. The markings exist autonomously on those pages of those books. Now, instrumental signs can be conventional or natural. Language, like we said, is definitely conventional. On the other hand, smoke, as we said, is often a natural sign of fire. And to reiterate, smoke is a sign and fire is a thing signified. But here, it's instrumental because smoke exists autonomously. Smoke can exist without a fire existing presently. Formal signs are more subtle. In fact, unlike instrumental signs, they are inseparable as being signs. They only exist as signs. They have no independent existence. However, it takes reflection to think of them as signs as we first think of what they signify. And only secondarily do we think about them as signs. And this raises the distinction between first intention and second intention, which we'll get to in a moment. But note, if we think about, for example, dark clouds as indicating possible rain, so dark clouds is a sign, possible rain is a signified. This is an instrumental natural sign. It's instrumental because it takes reasoning, so to speak, to go from dark clouds to possible rain. Likewise with waving the hand as a sign to hello or goodbye as a signified. On the other hand, the idea of a dog leading to dog is formal. And the idea is just a means to think about dog as it exists. But this also raises the distinction between sense images and intellectual images. In fact, sense images and intellectual images are formal signs. A sense image, also called a precept, is our perception of something with the use of our external senses. That is, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. The sign and what's signified are so intimate that the sign is nearly transparent. That's because a formal sign's very essence is to signify. Conversely, ink marks on a paper don't have the very essence to signify. That's why formal and instrumental signs are very different. Intellectual images lead to first intention, and then to second intention. For example, when we think of a dog, we think about the animal itself. We think of dog. That is the first intention. But then it's possible to internally reflect on our idea of a dog as an idea. That's when we enter second intention. In fact, traditional logic would say, hey, logic is the study of second intention because we're thinking about our ideas as they are components of propositions and propositions as components to syllogisms and various arguments. So for example, consider the sound of barking. What kind of sign is that? Well, it's definitely a sense image. But dog, as dog, is intellectual. The color green is a sense image, and grass is intellectual. We might see green grass, but when we conceptualize grass as being green, we're predicating grass as being green, and then we moved into an intellectual image. But notice that sense and intellectual images definitely are formal signs. We know of the sense image of the elephant before we reflect upon the sense image itself. The intellectual image of an elephant is the idea of an elephant, not an image as such. And when we think about the intellectual image, so to speak, of that elephant, and we think of it as an idea, we've then moved from first intention into second intention. So this is an introduction to the logic of signs. Of course, there's much more to be said on this topic of semiotics and how traditional logic has studied this topic. But if you want more of this type of material and you want to be more classically trained, please take a look at my website, amateurlogician.com. I have an extensive tutorial on traditional verbal style logic, and you can also sign up to my newsletter. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can follow me there. I would appreciate it. And I also have an Instagram account as well. Thank you for watching. Good luck to you, and be well.